Good afternoon, everybody. I do hope that you had a good lunch. Mr. Kamara, can you please call the witness so that we can proceed? Thank you.
Welcome back, Mr. Witness. Just a reminder that you are still under oath.
Counsel, can you proceed, please?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. It is good to have you back, Mr. Witness. I'm sure you have your laptop on again. Yes, so we were dealing with the audit report with respect to KMC, dated the 9th day of February 2023, for the years ended 31st December 2020 and 31st December 2021. Are you on the same page with me?
Page 83, right?
Yes, we can now go to page 86.
Okay.
I believe we have already dealt with page 83, I'm not sure. Can you?
Say that again?
I believe we have already dealt with page 83, so we can now move to page 86 of the report.
Yes, yes.
Very well. Now, on page 86 of the report, you will see that you have highlighted a non-maintenance of Imprest holders account. Okay. Do you see that?
Yes.
And you have highlighted that Council did not maintain holders account for the issuance and retirement of the Imprest.
Yeah.
Can you please elaborate more on that?
Yes. As per the report, the total Imprest issued were recorded in the entertainment account. So week retirement will be entered in receipts as cash book. This is not if Imprest is issued to somebody, there should be an Imprest holder account, and then at the end of the activity, you retire the Imprest accordingly with the supporting document. This was the practice at the council, and then their response was the council have stopped issuing general Imprest. The only Imprest issued are based on specific activity that affect a specific vote expenditure line, which is registered on a way book. So according to them, they have stopped that practice. So we can only confirm that when we go back to the 2022 audit.
Very well. But what are the implications of not maintaining an Imprest holders account?
The implication will be failure to maintain an Imprest control account might make it difficult to establish what Imprest amount is given to whom and for what purpose, and for the monitoring and retirement of these Imprest. If there is no Imprest holder account, it will be difficult to know the purpose of the Imprest. And then because Imprest doesn't mean that you must spend it. You have to spend it. If there is any unspent, it has to be retired or on the list. So if you don't maintain any account of it, it will be difficult to verify that.
And so at that time, the amount with respect to perhaps documentation you have received were up to about $128,900 of Imprest cash.
Yes. Yes, to various holders. Yeah.
And if we can just go briefly to one or two of the events that these Imprest were being issued. You will see that one of them is about having a cash Imprest for the payment of sanitary materials. That is about 1,500. Is that correct?
Yes.
You have also cash Imprest for fumigation materials, about $35,000.
Exactly.
And there was also as well cash Imprest for food and beverages. This appears about on 3 occasions, $7,700 on each occasion. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, and the list goes on. You have, in fact, not only 7, but the rest on the table is mainly cash impressed for payment of food and beverages.
Food and beverages, yes.
And you have there almost the same amount, $7,700. Now, let me ask, if you have different events, for example, and then you have an Imprest, even if you have an Imprest account, is it okay, is it normal to have the same amount reflecting on various situations with respect to this food and beverages of this sort?
Yes, that why it said, the implication, the auditor said without Imprest for the account, it will be difficult to confirm and to verify what the money has been used or spent for.
Which means there's a possibility of misstatement or understatement or so on and so forth.
Yes, it is possible. For us auditors, because if you say now 7,700, 7,700, if I told there is an Imprest account, it will be easier for the auditors to verify.
Very well.
But when there was no Imprest account at the time, it will be difficult. So we can't say. The only thing we can is just to bring the potential risk. So the risk can be anything, yeah.
Okay, let's now move on to page 89. Areas of rates.
Yeah.
You will see that on page 89,
Yes.
if I may quote you verbatim,
Yeah.
you've noted areas of rates at a tune of 242,450,956.97 batuts and 253,404,553.58 batuts for the years 2020 and 2021 respectively. And you are saying this was in respect of residential and commercial rates. Details are in Annex A. Of course, we will check those details later on. But then, what were your findings basically in this and the implications of these huge amount of monies that are still outstanding in the form of arrears and are not still being recovered to a large extent?
Yeah, I think our finding, this is just according to the file review. According to the budget, this is the amount you should collect. And then at the end of the year, at the end of the period, this is the outstanding balance uncollected. And then the implication is that uncollected areas might result to significant cash flow problem for the council. This might limit council contribution to provide required service towards and the public. It might be two reasons. Either your budget, your forecasting or your budget, the amount of revenue that you said you are expected to collect, either it is not correct, or again, it is correct, but the collection method is not effective. And then if you look at their response, they said, your observation is noted. The management have instituted a strong mechanism to ensure these areas are collected. The council have hired a lawyer who install an enforcer officer at the rate unit to ensure recovery is carried out accordingly. We have also a magistrate installed within the council premises to handle all cases related to rate and trade lancing. Defaulters and the IGP provided us with a highly experienced prosecutor who are doing all efforts to bring the defaulters to the court. Also, we have engaged another provide lawyers to deal with cases that our retainer have conflict of interest. So for them, this is their response, and then they say the matter will be regularized. But it's a concern. That's why the auditor is looking at the amount involved, supposed to be collected and not collected. I think it's a concern.
So it is more of, they didn't raise any issue regarding the budget, but perhaps it's more of a recovery mechanism.
For us, I think it's just the areas, according to this from their books.
No, I'm saying in relation to their response, their management response.
Yes.
From what you have read, it appears as if they had no issue with respect to the budget, but more or less like having an internal mechanism to recover these areas.
Yes. According to the response, it's not about the budget. It's about it is actually existing. It's just how to recover it. It's the payment.
And you will recommend perhaps that there should be a very strong mechanism in these kind of institutions to make sure that monies at this tune are not generally lost, because if you can recover them, then it is fair enough to say that you have lost this kind of money.
Exactly.
Very well. So can we move on to page 93? respectfully. You will see it is titled License GTRs.
Yes.
Yes. You have highlighted that there were unpresented GTR of $141,464 with
Yes.
GTR numbers 3002501 to 3002600 dated 05 March 2020 by one Kewe Jeng. And you've highlighted that the implication in relation to these unpresented GTRs is in the absence of the correctness of the figures in the revenue collector's cash book could not be confirmed. So here again we have an issue regarding trying to confirm what you were presented with.
Yes, this is unpresented GTR. You said page 92, right?
Yes, 93.
Page 93.
Yes.
Okay, let me just not the is it the Lansing unpresented GTR?
If you see
Unpresented collectors.
have you seen it?
Tell me the number. Is it 2.3 point what?
2.3.4.2.
Okay, 2.3.4.2. Okay, Lansing GTR, right?
Yes.
Okay, we noted unpresented GTR of 141,464 with GTR number. This is okay. Unpresented, yes. In the absence of the GTR, the correctness of the figure, yes. These are GTR because these are general triplicate receipts. These are the receipts used for the collection. So if you go there, is what they call the CRBR. That's the counterfoil receipt book register. If a receipt book is issued to any cashier, it's recorded in that book. So if auditors confirm that a particular book has been given to BAKARY, and then at the end of the period, what you expect is like the collections made should be, but they haven't presented that GTR, meaning this receipt book were given to this individual, but at the end of the period, you know, they didn't get any, the counterfoil, the receipt book has not been returned. So auditors are saying, in the absence of the GTR, the correctness of the figure in the revenue collector's cash book could not be confirmed because you would not know the amount that he recorded in his cash book, whether does the actual amount. True. So this is the challenge here.
But if you look at the management's response, it seems as if they were saying, no, in fact, we have given the audit team, we have presented them with the GTRs.
Yes. And the auditors are saying the Lansing GTRs remain outstanding and the claim in the management response is incorrect. Also, the evidence have not been presented with the management response. So, well, I think this is a common issue. Most of the time, auditors will raise their query, and then at some point they will say, yes, the books has been supplied, and then but they cannot provide any evidence that the books have been supplied. We've been used to this type of, response from the auditees.
Okay, let's see page 94 or 97.
Okay.
With respect to purchase of unused hammer mill,
yes, or
bottle crusher machine.
Yeah.
That would be in relation to spending about $1,143,198 is 19 bottles. $1,143,198 is 19 bottles, and then $34,931 is for fees and charges. So this amount of money was spent to purchase a hammer mill, yeah, or a bottle crusher, yeah, and the facts will show that the machine was never used. Yeah. The hammer mill was never used. Mm-hmm. So it's either maybe perhaps they don't need it, mm-hmm, or some other reasons, but it was never ever used, and then at some point it can be money wasted. Mm-hmm. You have raised issues of money being wasted and mismanagement of funds. Mm-hmm. Can you please dwell more on the issue regarding this huge amount of money being spent on a hammer mill which, yeah, was never used at any given time?
Yes, as auditors, we look at, yes, you can purchase something, but whether the thing purchased, because if you purchase something and then it's at the premises and you're not using it, from audit's point of view, it's like you've purchased this when you don't actually need it at that point in time. Maybe that money spent can be used for other present issues. I think that is our point here. If you look at the implication, we said non-purchase of unused items revealed that this particular machine was not needed by the council, which led to waste of resources which could have been used to finance other council activities. Well, if you purchase a machine of this amount, and then audit verification confirmed that it has not been in use, so this is the implication. We're thinking that that money could have been used for other council activities. So that's the point.
Yes, and again, still in relation to the hammer mill or bottle crusher machine, you have highlighted as well that in fact in the purchase of this hammer mill, the GPPA procedure were not followed at all.
Yeah.
And also, they didn't register it in the fixed assets register.
Register, yeah.
As well.
Yeah, that is as per the report, yeah. And then their response, they said the above transaction was spearheaded by the Mbalit project manager, who lobbied the funds from Julbrook Company Limited due to the volume of the bottles disposed by the breweries company. They supposed to procure the machine and hand it over to the council, but later decided to give the amount to the Mbalit project manager to procure on their behalf. Like the donation transaction, it was not treated like council normal revenue by the management, but a deposit in the Mbalit revenue account, which was later used for the procurement of the item. However, your observation is noted in future. All transactions on procurement will be based on the GPPA laws and regulations. The machine need a house at the Bakote dump site, which the BMZ project is yet to construct. Yeah, so this is their explanation.
Yes, so it seems they have agreed with you on,
yes,
on the fact that
yeah,
it needed to follow a certain procedure
yes,
before they kind of do such an expenditure.
Expenditure, yeah.
But another issue as well is if you look at the implication, we want to know basically just for our own consumption, why is there the need to follow GPPA procurement procedures?
You said why is?
Why is there the need to follow GPPA procurement policy procedures?
Yeah, I think GPPA, well, the reason from audit point of view, I don't work for GPPA, but from audit point of
yes,
view, as I have mentioned, the three types of audit: financial regularity and compliance, to make sure that you comply with the laws and regulations. GPPA is a body, and then any procurement has to follow. So if there's any procurement that doesn't follow the GPPA regulation, we follow it. So when you come to the details, maybe that one, the GTPPA, why, what have been violated, that is their area. But for us, is to make sure that you comply. If you don't comply, then we flag it. We flag it in our report.
Okay, and so again, let's go to page 98. We have here an issue of unpresented payment vouchers.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
Yes.
And you have highlighted that payment vouchers of 5,133,874 and 95 bottles as detailed below. You have already provided a detailed outline of the payment. We are in respect of construction fence for the Bakote dump site itself. So what is this issue with respect to the unpresented payment vouchers?
Yes, their response, for them they're saying the said vouchers were inspected,
yes, and
queried again as unpresented. The vouchers were represented again to one of the audit members with the evidence being already audited, and the retained documents for sharing with his team members for confirmation and possible consideration. And then auditors for document, the council presented the payment vouchers and they were reviewed. Okay, then this one has been sorted. Meaning, during the audit, it was about, the conclusion is, yes, it was later presented and reviewed.
Very well.
So the query is
please move to page 101. You have excess expenditure on page 101.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you see it? And
yeah,
you can as well turn to page 102. It's the same issue.
Yeah.
there was an excess of $12,605,860.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Please advise us more on these findings.
Yeah, they said we noted excess expenditure of 12,605,860 between the actual and budgeted expenditure.
Can we hear you louder, please?
Yes, meaning they budgeted, in this year, they budgeted to spend on a particular landfill maintenance. They budgeted to spend 7,715,285, and they end up spending 12,595,854. And then the other one is they budgeted to spend 6,775,600, and they spent 13,891. And then this led to excess expenditure of 12,605,860. So the implication here is there is a risk of weak internal control, which might lead to council not implementing some of its plan actually due to overspending of expenditure. This excess expenditure might not necessarily be the fraud, might not be fraud, but it's an internal control weakness. Because budget is a plan and you need to work in accordance with that plan. So if you budget and then you spend more than what you've budgeted for, that is showing that like even if you have to spend more than what you've budgeted for, there should be an authority like environment and then other augmentation so that you will have the authority to spend. Yeah.
But in their comment, you will see that they have highlighted, which of course there was a further comment from the auditor, but it seems that they have highlighted that there was the budget was revised through environment, but in which as well you said in your comment that the revised budget was not presented for confirmation.
Yeah, they said with reference to the excess expenditure concerning the landfill maintenance, we agreed the original budget was not sufficient due to level of indiscriminate dumping and the regular dressing requirement of the backwater dump site due to the volume of waste deposited daily as well as the flood disaster mitigation through drain clearing. However, the budget was revised through environment, hence the budget could not meet the cost. So for them, they're saying, yes, there was environment, but auditors are saying the revised budget was not presented for confirmation.
Okay. On page 103 of the same report, we have the issue of non-deduction of withholding tax.
Yes.
Again, I'm sure we cannot overstate the importance of withholding tax. Yeah. But before I say anything, can you just tell us more about these findings?
Yes, they are like the council did not deduct withholding tax from its suppliers and remit it to Gambia revenue as required by the above act. As per our discussion with the finance manager one and the accountant, we were informed that council have not been deducting withholding tax. Or this law, if you have suppliers, if you are paying them 10%, should be deducted and then paid to GRA. So if you are not doing that, auditors flag it. This is still our responsibility as per the Constitution to make sure that institutions comply with the laws and regulations. So their response, they said, with regards to the above query, the management is in agreement that withholding tax are required to be deducted from contract and remit the amount to the Gambia Revenue Authority. However, the system we have been using does not have the platform to handle the transaction, but with the implementation of the IFMIS, the process of deducting withholding tax will fully be implemented. Hence, the system has the perfect platform to calculate the 10%. This is their response. They have agreed? Yes.
It is interesting that they have mentioned the implementation of the IFMIS, but at some point in your further findings in other areas, you will see that at some point you have in fact found out that they haven't still implemented the IFMIS system. But we will get there. I also stand to be corrected. Still on withholding of tax.
Yes.
Do you have any idea as to for how long this has been going on?
How?
How long it has been going on?
Has this been going on?
Yes.
No, but I know because for this period it has not been happening. And then if you look at them, they're saying they agree because their system doesn't have the platform to deduct this, meaning it has been going on
for a long time.
Since they've started preparing the financial statement, yeah.
And is it fair to say that this alone, by not withholding tax, this will cost a loss of revenue to the Gambian government because this tax is supposed to be paid to GRA. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So,
yes.
so if you have if you are not withholding tax for a period of, even for a period of 1 year, even for 1 month, for example, and you're engaging in activities where you're supposed to withhold tax, you will definitely cause financial loss to the government.
That's true.
We now move to page 104. I know, I'm not sure whether you are tired. You have been here since in the morning.
I'm fine.
But yes, let's
I'm
just.
used to this, the National Assembly.
I
so
am,
I'm good.
exactly. Anyways, page 104 is the issue of unverified staff. That you have staffs in the payroll system who are not existing. And you found this out through your physical verification when you, or inspection, when you went there to conduct your auditing.
Yes.
Can you please tell us more about the issue of unverified staff and they been in the payroll system? I know they have made comments as well. They have tried to justify, but you were making some further request that they must provide evidence in relation to this. So can you please tell us more about that?
Yes, the audit team observed that some staff in the payroll system were not existing. This was noted during the physical verification of staff, because we will look at the payroll, the names in the payroll, and then take a sample and then confirm whether those physical staff are in fact existing. So that's what happened, and then their response was, they said, I write to verify the status of the foreign staff of the council whose status happened to be part of the audit query. As I don't know. I don't like reading names, but if I have to read it.
No, you can. You
I
can.
can. Okay, that's fine. Esa Fati, employment number, was a staff of the council as the court supervisor. He resigned on the 31st of July, 2022. Madam Jara Bajo, employment number is a daily paid cleaner of the council. Binta Sise, employment is staff of cleaner of the council. Adama Jiva, a staff and a cleaner. Ismaila Sidibe is a staff of the council. Only report to work when salary is in. So his salary was seized by the council. Aisatu Ijalo, employment number, is a staff of the council currently undergoing treatment outside the country. Fatmata Jaite Square is a staff of the council. Omar Ka is a staff of the council, also undergoing treatment. Auditors further comment, this staff concerned should visit the National Audit Office with the identification card for confirmation. We gave this name, this is on sample basis, and they've just responded, this is a staff, the other one is on treatment, the other one comes only when salary is paid. And then auditors are still saying they should appear, because you have a responsibility. If they are staff and auditors say these are staff, but we cannot verify them, you have a responsibility as management to make sure that they appear.
Absolutely. You as must prove for your assertion. I mean, were these names only sample names, or did the list transcend beyond these names?
Audit is based on samples, so I believe these are just sample names.
Very well. Yeah. So it means there's a possibility that the name exceeds what you have
audit
here.
Is based on sampling, yes.
Good. And then, as we speak now, the issue has not been resolved because you have not been provided with the necessary information you have requested for.
Yes, it still remains the same up to the time, unless maybe next audit cycle it can be confirmed. But for now, yeah.
All right. So let's go to page 127. The issue of lack of medical policy. You've really highlighted that there is an issue of lack of medical policy at KMC, but then there is a process or a procedure or a policy with respect to the senior staff who will normally have access to medical coverage either within the Gambia or overseas. Again, please don't hesitate to correct me if I'm wrong. But then this were your findings, and then you have highlighted that this has caused kind of unfair treatment, perhaps, if I may use that language, or discrimination of whatever kind. But then, as far as you're concerned, it was an issue that you have raised.
Yes, because as auditors, we don't challenge policies, but if you are doing anything, if there is a policy, we just make sure that whether you are operating in accordance with that policy. So according to this, the council did not have a medical policy, outlined the conditions and requirement for treatment of staff. However, the council did make medical reform and payment for local and overseas treatment. These payments and claims were for senior staff of the council only. Details are sampled below. So for them, and then the implication is there is risk of unequal and unfair treatment and distribution of resources among staff, especially the junior staff. And the recommendation, and then also this might lead to loss of funds since there are no conditions and requirements to adhere to. And then their response, our recommendation was management should put a stop for payment of medical treatment until the introduction of an approved medical policy by the council. And the response was, your observation is noted, and currently all medical support are suspended until a medical policy is developed in the coming fiscal year.
Yes. So go ahead, please proceed.
Yes, meaning they've agreed. They said they will develop a medical policy, the director of admin responsible.
Sure. Yeah. That admission brings me to ask the question, perhaps, which I haven't seen you raise, but just out of curiosity's sake. Because in your implication column, you've highlighted that it may cause loss of funds for the council.
Yes.
But how about the issue of whether it was in fact at any time agreed at council level meetings here and there, where there was a resolution passed to that effect and so on and so forth? Did they raise anything of that sort?
No, we didn't, because what matters, in this case, if at all they said no, there is a medical policy or whatever, then we can say evident, they can say it was this. But in this case, they agreed that there is none. But this decision, they haven't. It's like we said, this is what we said, there is no medical, and you are doing it, and they said yes, and then we will stop, or we will regularize it. So we didn't go that far. If I told there is another, then we can go that far. But at the moment they agreed, they said yes, but we will regularize it, we will make sure it's in place. We didn't go that far.
So if I get you right, from their response,
yes,
you can clearly tell whether there was in fact a resolution to the effect or not. Exactly. So as far as you're concerned, they have considered there was no proper procedure followed.
Exactly.
And then monies were spent or
yes,
and there was no procedure followed to that effect.
Yeah. But there is no indication to say that maybe it was a resolution at the General Council or whatever. Then we could have asked for the evidence of that meaning, but they haven't mentioned anything like that.
Just to read few of the details with respect to these expenditures, like medical bill claim for the Deputy Director of Finance, 8,726. Medical support for the councillor, I would not name the word perhaps, because in relation to health, but $7,550. You have refund for cost of reading glasses for one so-and-so 19,516. Now, the only reason why I'm not reading the names in this issue is in relation to health. So I'm not sure whether the commissioners will allow me not to read their names. But the list goes on. You have payment for medical bills for one individual, $12,000. Medical bills for the councillors of so-and-so ward, $3,000. Payment as councillor support towards medical expenses, $10,000. Again, you have reading glasses with a pair of frame, $12,000. So there were numerous expenditures being done without evidence of correct procedure being followed. Will I be correct to say that?
Yes, this is correct. For us, I think our listing is like not even querying the amount, but the procedure, the medical, the approved document. That is what is lacking. So I think that's
very
our concern here. Yeah.
So let's please turn to page 138. Are you there already?
138, right?
Yes, 138.
Yes, I should be there now.
Before
yes, I'm here, yeah.
Or before 138, let's just see page 130 with respect to your performance review.
130, right?
130. Then we can move from there in relation to discussing the matters raised on page 138.
Yes.
Yes, with respect to your performance review, you've highlighted poor maintenance of block toilet at Serekunda Market.
Yeah.
If I may read verbatim, you've stated that an amount of 561,000 was spent for the renovation of the toilets in 2021. And you have observed the following, that the men and women share the same toilet. That's point one. That the manhole for the toilet was broken and covered with plastic bags. That's point two. The third point was there were blockages within the toilets that needed attention. And the other point was the flush system was not functioning. And as a result, the water supply was through basins. Now you've illustrated a picture to show the state of the toilets, which really is not pleasing to see. But again, the implications there, but I'll allow you to go through the implications yourself. Please discuss with us with respect to your findings when you visited, as per your audit duties, when you visited Serekunda Market, and the implications.
Yes, implication, lack of gender-separated restriction might result
Before you go to the implications,
okay,
just briefly discuss again. I was just reading the points with respect to your findings at the market.
Yes, just as I've mentioned, when we conduct the audits, we also go to look at the facilities of the council, because management has a responsibility to protect the assets of the council, because they are for the public. You can build a very nice structure, but it's also management has a responsibility to protect them so that they can serve the purpose. So this is what happened. They said the men and women share the same toilet. We all know the implication of that. The manhole, all these things are just the issues that they found as far as the toilets are concerned. They just flag those things so that the management can know this is what is happening, and then fix it timely before it goes out of hand. And then we've shown the picture as evidence. So if you look at the implication, we said lack of gender-separated restriction might result to urinary tract infection, especially in women, sexual harassment, and lack of comfort in using the toilets. There is a risk of unpleasant smell emanating from the broken manhole to the canteen owners that are situated around the area, which might be hazardous to their health. The broken manhole and non-functioning of the flush system might result to the place being unhygienic and unhealthy for use. So they've responded. They said the said toilet is a block of 6 toilets, 3 for female and 3 for male, and there was level identifying each of the toilets. Probably it may have been removed, but has been replaced. The damages on the manhole and blockage within the toilets have been fixed since October. With regards to the malfunction in the flush system, is that the system get damaged frequently and being replaced. And eventually, plumber has fixed the system and is working currently to ensure continuation usage of the toilet. So this was their response. They said it has been fixed. And then, we will confirm that in our next audit cycle.
Yes. Subsequently, we will get to a point where one of your recommendations are that there has to be a regular maintenance with respect to these facilities. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Still on page 133, if you move, again, we have a similar issue, poor drainage system at the Serekunda Market, where you have stated that you've observed poor drainage system at the market. Most of gutters were clogged with sand and other waste materials. That as a result of unclosed gutters and or broken slab covers. That you've also noted vendors have placed tables and storage materials on the main drainage slabs.
Yeah.
Yes.
We noted that vendors have placed tables and so, okay, yeah. Within the scope of this audit, the council constructed a new drainage of 80-meter fence with concrete slab towards Kumba lower area of the market. Details are shown below. Okay, this is the drainage system, and that's the picture. You can see the picture if you go down. So the implication is there is a risk of flooding in some part of the market, especially during the rainy season, as a result of the unclosed gutters and broken slab covers. They are defeating the effectiveness of the newly constructed area.
Very well.
So, and they haven't responded to this. So, we're not sure if any action has been taken on this issue.
You also have other issues, similar issues.
Yeah.
If you turn to page 137, that is with respect to the Talinding buffer zone, 2.10.3. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yes, that's page 137, am I correct?
Yes.
On page 137, you have highlighted that during your visit, you were informed that the council has not deployed a toilet attendant at the zone for quite a long time. And again, another issue as well is, as per the 2021 ledger records, you were informed that a total amount of $1,875,650 was posted as various expenses for these developments. So here you have an incident, an issue where you feel that there is no toilet attendant at the buffer zone. And you also have another issue wherein you have postings at the ledger wherein it was indicated a certain figure up to the tune of 1 million, or let's say close to $2 million. And for expenses, supposed to be for expenses done in relation to the market and the toilet and related facilities. Can you please tell us more about that?
Yes, for us, this is our no toilet attendant, and then by looking at the records, about more than $1 million has been spent on various activities on this. So our expectation was maybe you will see something of standard, but their response was, like they said, the buffer zone project involved various activities at different intervals during the said period, which were procured through requests for quotation, through different suppliers, hence require no contract, which to our knowledge was not part of document requested during the audit exercise. However, the vouchers are available for inspection. The auditors are saying that 1 million something spent on various activities has not been, they don't see any contract. But for them, they were like the supply, hence require no contract. They said they require no contract, which to our knowledge was not part of the document requested during the audit exercise. So what they're saying is like this was done in different intervals and different period, and then it required no contract. And then, but again, they were not even aware that the auditors requested for this documentation. And
so,
then, yes.
So if they require no contract, how can you, as an auditor, kind of ascertain the figures already spent?
Yeah, so that's why we don't put any auditor, because we only put the auditors for document if necessary, because the purpose is for the readers to be clear. So if we know that our finding, your response has clearly, so normally we don't go that far.
So you're saying in this instance, the response did not warrant a further comment?
Yes, from us, yes.
Yes. That's serious, that's very serious. But again, on page 138, similar issues. The KMC annex, which you have visited to inspect the construction of a 300 meters driveway awarded to Zen Construction and Trading in February 2021. Now, you've said that the construction was agreed to last for 6 months at a cost of $3,595,550. But as far as you were concerned, there was no progress made in relation to those construction at the time of auditing. Now, I have noticed their comment, their further comment, which seems to say that they have, as at the time of their comment, there was completion of the construction of the road. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, for them, they said the driveway was almost completed at the time of your visit. The said foreign materials has been cleared and the stagnant water is being green with grass. We later realized the parking areas were required to be fixed to ensure a fully pavement of the area, and due to a heavy downpour of rain, the work slowed down, causing a delay for the completion. Currently, the work is completed for inspection. But this was, for us, what we know, because if you have any project, the contract document will stipulate the starting and the end period. So as auditors, even if there is any delay, then you can provide justification for that. But for us, our primary listing will be, according to the contract document, is to start in January and end in December. If we get there in December or January, it's not completed, we flag it. Any reason for that, then you can bring that one for the stakeholders to know. So that's what actually happened.
So it should have started in January, which
No,
year?
I'm just giving an example.
Yes, I'm now being very much specific here.
Okay.
As per your findings, the contract documents indicates that the contract should have started when? Do you know?
Trading in February, the 300 million awarded to Zen contract and trading in February 20. This construction was agreed to last for 6 months at a cost of 3 million 5 years. As per our intervention, we noted the following issues. We noted construction was still in progress. In terms of quality, we observed work delivered to be unsatisfactory and already depleting. The driveway was in use at a time of our visit. However, we noted it was obstructed with foreign materials such as a heap of sand, water, and other items. Generally, the external environment of the annex was found to be untidy. Details below are a sample of pictures taken on the 30th of August. So, trading in construction and trading in February, they're saying it started in February, March, April, May,
so at
June,
most,
July,
to help
August.
you, so at most it should last
For 6 months.
August.
Yes.
Or thereabout.
Oh, exactly.
Of the same year, 2021.
Yes.
And you have completed this audit when?
No, but they went there in August 30th, 2022.
Yes.
And then, but there still is incomplete.
That's my point.
To be done.
My point is almost a year
Yes.
from the date that the contract was supposed to expire,
Exactly.
which means work should have been completed,
Exactly.
to the date that the audit team went there, was almost about 12 months.
Yes.
Or more.
Or more, yes.
Yes. So do you think that is a sufficient excuse?
Yeah, that's why we brought it out, because contract, any other reason, if whatever is causing the delay or whatever, is for the management to come out and then give reasons. Give reasons for that, yeah.
Let's again look at page 40. I think we're almost there. At the back-coated dump site, when you have noticed that the security barbed wire of the perimeter fence was not completed, that the newly built office constructed in 2020 had no power and water supply, and that you've observed access roads as very narrow to properly accommodate the ward trucks. And I will leave you with its implication and the comments therein.
Yes, the implication of that is there is a risk of
Before the implication, I am just reading this for you so that you can just tell us briefly. You can read if you want again, or you can just discuss it in summary.
Back-coated dump site. We noted that the security barbed wire for the perimeter fence was not completed. The newly built office constructed in 2020 had no power and water supply. We observed the access roads as very narrow to properly accommodate the ward trucks. And the implication, there is a risk of unauthorized dumping as a result of the incomplete security barbed wire. There is a risk of higher repair and maintenance costs on the truck as a result of narrow access roads. Our recommendation is management should investigate the reason for the non-completion of the security barbed wire to ensure it is completed and the access road widened to accommodate all vehicle type. The newly constructed office should be upgraded to have water and power supply. Because auditors, all this is just to protect. If you just build something, it should serve its purpose. So if we see that maybe there are some lapses, then auditors will always flag it for the benefit of the public. Their response was, your observation is noted. The security barbed wire at the perimeter fence will be completed in the coming fiscal year. The budget has been allocated already. With regards to the narrow roads, it's part of the BMZ project funded by SOS, KMC, and German government. And that's how the access road was designed at the initial stage of the project. But the project committee later realized that the road is not fit for the trucks and approved for its expansion. The council has temporarily backfilled the edges with Western to enable the trucks to use it pending the completion of the project. The newly constructed office at the dump site is part of the BMZ project, of which the necessary installation, electricity and water will be fitted accordingly. We are working closely with our partners, SOS, for a scaling up of the project by the funders, German government, of which widening of the road is highly prioritized. So they haven't objected to this, like they've agreed, and then, and they said they will work on it in the next fiscal year.
Very well. Before we proceed to page 142, let's go back a bit to page 128. It's a very important issue that I think we should discuss. It is with respect to unsigned contract committee meeting minutes. Here you have the contract committee. They are supposed to have perhaps periodical meetings, but then you have, in your findings, you have noticed that there were minutes that were presented to you or to your team, which were either not signed, and you have used the word several minutes, either not signed or signed by one individual. In some cases, signed by the CEO, or in some cases, signed by the clerk to the council, but not the CEO.
Yeah.
Yes, please tell us more about that.
This page 128, right?
128, please.
128.
Yes, 128.
Okay, unsigned contract committee meeting. Yeah. We reviewed the meeting minutes of the contract committee and noted that several were either not signed at all or were signed by only one of the two signatories. Yes. These are governance issues because contract committees, when you meet, there should be an evidence of meeting. And then even if you prepare minutes again and minutes are not signed, we can't see whether if this is the truth, because to sign the minutes is to authenticate it, to say this actually happened and then we are confirmed the true issues that happened during the meeting. But if it is not signed, there is an indication that maybe meeting has not even taken place, somebody has just put something in play, or they haven't, or the issues arise in that minute are not the actual issues that happened during the meeting. So it's just to authenticate. The implication, we said in the absence of authorized signature, there is the risk that the content of the minutes may not be authentic. They might not be relied upon as the bona fide reference for the decision and resolution contained therein. Just as I said, audit, we look at the potential risk. That might not be the case, but we always point at potential risks. Yeah.
Yes. What now interests me again is the response from the management. There are some actions that you can rectify, and there are other actions in my mind that you may not be able to rectify, because in the event that you are faced with an audit team, and there's evidence that some of the minutes that you present to them have not been authenticated by the people who are supposed to authenticate these documents, or you understand? Now, if you go back as an audit team and they send you documents to tell you now we have authenticated these documents, can that be relied upon? Because in their response you will see that they said now the contracts committee meeting minutes in question are signed and ready for inspection. So it is a post decision making. So what is your take on that?
Yes, the objective of audit is to enhance the operation of the institutions. You can't go, even if you audit National Audit Office, you have findings, you have audit observation, but the objective is to improve. If we find that we flag this for this period, when we go back, not necessarily this one, because they said they have signed it retrospectively or whatever, that has not addressed the issue. But our objective is to make sure that from now onward, all the minutes, all the minutes are taken and they are signed. Then we will know that at least we achieve our objective.
Exactly.
Some of our recommendations are forward-looking to enhance the operation of the institutions.
Yes. That is why we're here, because if you enhance the operational mechanism of this institution, then you save them millions of dollars, which in effect you save the country a lot of money as well, which will go a long way in trying to secure or guarantee development to a greater extent. Is that not correct?
Sure.
Good. So 142, page 142, I will allow you to move since you're using your laptop.
Page 142, right?
Yes. Audit trail not set up on the matrix and payroll system. Now, again, I had indicated earlier that there are some words or terminologies which I would require you to explain a bit for the better consumption of the people that are listening. Can you tell us more about what you mean, your findings in the audit trail not set up on the matrix and payroll system? But in doing so, please give a brief explanation about what is the matrix system and what is a payroll.
Maybe this, when we are conducting the audit now, we also have an IT unit. So normally we will go with our IT staff to go with the audit team and also look at the infrastructure and then the system. So this query came from our IT unit. I might not be on top of it, but the matrix or whatever, because I'm not an IT auditor. I don't want to be talking about IT. These are IT queries.
Yes.
Because we have our IT auditor that will join the team, time to time to come up with, to look at the infrastructure and then the other IT issues. Audit trail not set up on the matrix and payroll. During the audit, we found out that both matrix property tax system and payroll system have no audit trail functionality to log user activity and system transaction history. Meaning this has to do with the audit trail, because payroll is the system used for the payment of salaries and allowances. So if you pay the salary for December, at least for November, December, you should be able to go back and see that transaction. But that trail wasn't there, so this complaint is about. So the matrix system, I think that's the software that they are using. So, but there is no audit trail. So that comes as an observation. They said without audit trail function, it is impossible to identify individual responsible for unauthorized changes to the system or any other transaction made in the matrix property tax and payroll system. So the matrix is a software that they are using, but it doesn't have audit trail. Whatever you did, nobody can come and then track it.
Very well. I have only a few quick questions for you, just to conclude on this audit report. Please turn to page 147.
147.
In relation to the online trade license system not in use.
Yes.
Do you see that?
Yes.
You've highlighted that, of course, there's a system that's been purchased for about $450,000.
Yes.
And it's been hosted by a service provider at a cost of $191,000 and an annual support fee of $70,000. But just to summarize your findings, that this system is not functional.
Yes.
As at the time that you have gone to audit audit the council. So, and the implication that you have highlighted is there's a risk of wasting resources in the purchase of the trade license software, since it does not serve its purpose, and cost is still being incurred in hosting the application online and support services. Please elaborate more on it.
Yes, this is as per our IT auditors, because the objective of any system is to enhance your operation. Then if you purchase a system and then there are issues, unable to process a complete trade license as per this query, and then the council spend money on it, that is something that is not fit for the purpose. And then the implication is there is risk of wastage of resources in the purchase of the trade license software, since it does not serve its purpose and cost is still being incurred in the application of the online and support service. And then their response is access to the site has been regained after 10 months of follow-up, meeting, phones, calls, correspondence, emails. The site will be tested for a week to make sure expected functionality is regained before it's developed. The site will be tested for functionality, validated, and redeployed. Contract will be reviewed and discussed with management for adjustment. Concerning annual support fees, amount, maintenance, and hosting, they're saying, they have, they have checked and they made figure and then it has been reinstalled. But auditor for the comment issued not regularized. This has not been brought to our attention. So we can only confirm that in the next subsequent audit.
Yes. I see quite often wherein the governments will indicate that they have either regularized the process or not, or so, and then your further comments will indicate that is in fact incorrect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last issue would be on page 153, the issue regarding inputting of backlog transactions. Now there is the IFMI system, the financial management system, that has been rolled by government for the area councils to use, right?
Yeah.
And you have noticed that this is not the case. They are still not either not using the IFMI system, or they are inputting backlog from previous years. So yes, can you please shed more light on that?
Yes, if it's any system, because like if they are using another system, it's not a bad thing to input the backlog, but that is just to that's just to give you a starting point, a baseline, maybe a trial and then testing, because you cannot just abandon what you're doing and then just put everything in this new system before it's been tested. So backlog is not an issue here in putting that, but the thing is, during the audit, we found that the council has not yet started raising current transactions on the IFMI system. The council is inputting backlog of the previous year, 2021. And the implication is there is possibility of defecting the purpose of the IFMIs being deployed at the council if the backlog is not cleared on time to ensure current transaction raised using the IFMI system. What we're saying, yes, you can input the backlog, but at least there should be a timeline, to make sure that that assignment is done. You capture all the backlog and then start processing your current transaction through the IFMI system. So this is the query. And then for them, they are like, the observation is noted. However, with the IFMI's network problem, it seriously affects.
Hello? Yes. No, wait a minute. I don't think it is back. The connection is back yet.
Yeah, and they're saying in their response, they're saying we said the observation is noted. However, with the IFMI's network problem is seriously affecting the implementation despite the dedicated point-to-point install. However, we're working on acquiring a separate G5 for the finance department. The backlog for 2021 have all been posted and all currently transactions are live on IFMIs. Auditors further comment, issue not regularized, the council is still inputting the backlog. So that's the thing. For them, they're saying they finished the backlog. The issue is with the network problem, but auditors are saying that's not the issue. They are still inputting the backlog.
So just to conclude on this report, I believe you audit to highlight some problems, either policy problems or whatsoever management problems or financial management issues with respect to a certain institution. And you do that because you, like you said earlier, there is a need to improve. It may be normal at some point to have, of course, you'll have institutional growth, wherein if problems have been identified, subsequently they have been solved. Is that not the case? That is one of the purpose of auditing. So you know the problems, you highlight the problem, and they have been tackled. But when I turned to page 155, I see that attached therein is follow up on prior year audit matters. Now, you were given a feedback as an auditor, when I say you, I mean your institution, regarding your previous auditing recommendations and what has not been implemented, or what is being implemented. But if you look at page 155, and if I may read, you've highlighted that below is a list of outstanding matters during prior year audits for the period 1st January 2018 to 31st December 2019. There were some issues that were being implemented. It only accounted for 16%. And you have 60% of issues that were not being implemented, even after identifying them and making sure that they were aware of those problems. So the issues that are not implemented range from review of draft financial statements to cash books and not presented, to sample licensed GTRs not presented, to having lack of disaster recovery plan, conflicting rules of internal audit and compliance, management and custody of security documents, incomplete personal files, low qualification of key positions, counterfeit operating systems, no defined roles and responsibilities for IT staffs, training strategy program not implemented, maintenance interval on licensed Windows Office kit, and the list goes on. And then you've made a conclusion on it. You have said, and I will quote you word for word, that the council implemented 16 out of 40 findings, representing 40%. This shows that 60% of the finding was not implemented. Management should ensure that the unimplemented recommendations should be implemented without delay to improve on its weaknesses, because the same findings were noted during the audit. So there was a reoccurrence. Please elaborate on this point before we conclude.
Yes, just as I said, for us, we are just a reporting agency, National Audit Office. When we go, the findings, whatever we found on the ground, we report it. And then the reason why at the beginning I started the audit process, entrance meeting, environment management, request for documentation during the audit, that consultation, so that at the end of the audit you will not be like, I'm not aware, or auditors, just to make it consultative. After the report, the recommendations are clear. We know there are some recommendations that might take long. Those are long term, but there are some that it doesn't even take a week to regularize some of those things. But year in, year out is the same thing. So as auditors, the only thing we can do is to give an update on the prior year matters, the unregularized issues, and then report. That's why the ministry is copied. Minister of Local Government is copied, Minister of Finance is copied, the mayor and the chairperson are copied, and the report is discussed at the National Assembly. And then as auditors, that's where we can stop. This for the policy makers to come up with action to make sure that audit reports are implemented. So this is our frustration. It makes the work frustrating, and this is the fact, and this is the truth. And then you cannot just blame the council, but I mostly always blame the oversight institutions. That's my stand.
Thank you very much. I am grateful for your time and your honest answer. I now hand over to you, hand you over to the commissioners, the honorable commissioners, and then they will take it from there. Thank you so much. Chair, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Council. And thank you, Mr. TRAWALLY, for giving us an insight into the report. But before I hand over to my fellow commissioners to ask questions, I just wish to ask one or two questions, and then I believe after their intervention, we can call it a day. Mr. TRAWALLY, can you shed light on whether or not environment and sanitation laborers' cost, which have been highlighted in your report, to amount to the amount which was paid to these laborers was at the tune of 31,681,146.30 in 2021 and 27,930,485.42 in 2020. My question is, do you classify this as capital expenditure? And if so, why?
On page, okay.
I'm not referring to any page. Okay, let me say page 52 on the capital expenses. If you go to page 52.
Page 52.
Yes.
Here?
52. Can you check page 52 or page 53? Oh, okay. Go to page 53.
Page 53.
Yes, you can see that environment and sanitation laborers, the cost paid to that effect was 31,681,146.3. that is in 2021, and in 2022 it was 27,930,485.42. So my question is, does this qualify to be a capital expense, and if so, why? Because if you go back to page 52, where you have the capital expenditures,
yes,
I do not seem to see this captured under capital expenses.
yes, I will explain notes, because if they said capital expenses comprise land, and I know if it is under capital expenses, okay, park development, car, equipment, environment, and yes, these are under, because I'm just looking at the note.
Yeah, okay.
I don't see any note to explain the reason why it was, because if it is the payment for sanitation, environment and sanitation, and it is not clear, because environment and sanitation laborers, it is not clear. Because if it is their allowance, their payment, their salary, that is an operational expense. If at all you purchase something for them, maybe a tractor or a truck or a whatever, that can come as a capital expense, but there is no note to explain. So these are some of the reasons why the auditors, and they don't get any clarification, why the auditors express a disclaimer of opinion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next question that I have. Under vehicles, particularly the waste collection vehicles, 15 tipper trucks were also purchased at the cost of 33 million in 2020 and 40 million in 2021. Here my question is, why the difference? And were there any contracts you saw when you were doing the audit? And also the third question is, are these capital expenses?
Yes, when you said vehicle waste collection, 15 tipper trucks, if you purchase them, yes, it's capital expense, because capital expenditure is on fixed assets and development.
Okay.
Those ones are capital, and then 33 million, and then 2022 it went to 40 million, and then because it's the note that will explain, you know, why are these things, what is this, what is, because like you have to prepare financial statement in a way that when an independent, that's why financial statement, I said the income and expenditure, the balance sheet and the notes to the account, as far as councils are concerned. So the notes should be able to explain what exactly each and every line item means. And that's why I said councils can prepare financial, but whether they are credible is another thing. So these are the reasons that gave rise to a disclaimer of opinion. Because the questions you are asking is the same question that the audit team will be asking. And then if they can get any justification or any documentation, they have no option but to give an adverse opinion or disclaimer.
So in this circumstance,
yes,
that is why you gave an adverse finding
disclaimer
against this spending of this 30 million and this 33 million and the 40 million.
Not only to say specifically this 33 million and 40 million, but because of the way the financial statement is prepared, is not clear. The disclosures, the notes are not clear. So you ask for certain things and then you don't have the explanation, you know, coupled with other issues raised. That's why the auditors gave an disclaimer of opinion.
Okay. You also talked about the issue of landfill maintenance. It is noted, I have noted, that the landfill maintenance cost was 16 million in 2021 and over 19 million in 2020. So I don't know whether this one is also classified as a capital expenditure.
Yes.
And if so, why is it that there is a disparity between 2021 and 2020 in terms of cost?
Yeah, you know, naturally, yes, landfilling can come under capital. Okay. It can come under capital. That one I'm not disagreeing. And then the cost to increase also from 2020 to 2020, that is expected. But the preparers of the financial statement has a responsibility. That's why I'm saying every financial statement must have a prior year figure and this year, so that if there is any increment, then you explain the reason for that variance. But that is what is lacking. So we are constrained. So all these things that you were asking, these were the issues why the auditors come with a disclaimer of opinion.
Yes, let me just interject here. Because if you look at it, in 2020 it was 19 million, and in 2021 it's 16 million. You may correct me if I am wrong. Why is it that there is a decrease, given the fact that there is appreciation in inflation and all that stuff, cost-wise and all that stuff? Why was there the decrease instead of, you understand?
Yeah, the expectation of everything being equal, it should increase instead of this.
Decreasing.
Yeah, but again, it's the same question. It's the same answer. Is the preparers of this, financial statement who should, explain all those variances. That is why financial statement has this. Any variance, any increment or decrease, you have to explain for the users to understand this is what has actually happened. So if you don't prepare financial statement on that basis, then the opinion will be negative, and that's what actually happens.
Okay. Were you able also to have documentation with respect to the construction of the market?
Which market?
The Serekunda market and the estimated cost? Because it doesn't seem to be reflected anywhere.
No, audit is an exceptional reporting.
Okay.
It also only highlights the weaknesses.
Okay.
So if you see that they haven't reported the documentation, maybe that one was provided. So where they have issue is the condition of the market. Audit the document that you found, you will not report those things like I have found this. You only report if there are weaknesses or if there are issues with the documentation, because it's exceptional reporting.
Was there any counterpart funding in the construction of the office complex in KMC? Did you come across?
If it is not reported in the report, I would not be able to tell for now. If it is not reported here, because I guide myself. I use my report to guide myself, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will hand you over to the commissioners, the ones that have questions. Yes.
Yeah.
You've talked about the forms of audit opinions, and one of them is the, let me see, this one that is the disclaimer that has been coming on.
Yeah.
My question is, what would it take to remove a disclaimer opinion?
Well, as far as we are concerned, I think this question is for management and the oversight institution, because as auditors, for us, we don't just use our discretion in expressing an opinion. Any opinion that we issued is backed by evidence standards, and then our reports are reviewed by external reviewers, not even Gambians, from the head office in South Africa. So that's why as auditors, we don't even have the luxury or to use your discretion. So if it is disclaimer, if what is going on continue, next year it will be disclaimer, year after it will be disclaimer, until and unless action, they take a necessary action. The recommendations will be, because like, if at all this year the figures are like this, you haven't done anything. When we go back again, the same figures will be used as a basis for the preparation of the next account. So if you don't work on these figures, you provide explanation, you provide documentation, it's still going to be the same thing. So it's that I think that responsibility lies with the management and the oversight institution to make sure that something is done about it, to clean these figures and report correctly.
Thank you.
Mr. TRAWALLY, I have two questions. One is general in nature, and the second one is specific to Basse Area Council. In your testimony, you did explain that the National Audit Office does routine audit of councils and also conducts special audits. And special audits are conducted where, in the public opinion, there is some degree of maladministration or financial malpractices. So, in a situation where there is financial malpractices and you have to do a special audit, what are the parameters that you look at? And then secondly, from 2018 to date, have you ever done any financial audit on any council? What were the issues and what was the outcome of that special audit? That's my first question.
Yes, Basse Area Council, maybe the two, the special audit, this is, I think the lead council, okay, I think it was Basse, the Auditor General answered that question because there was a special audit conducted for Basse Area Council by internal audit. But again, as national audit also, we also conduct special audits on request. That means if there is something happen, either the executive wrote or a particular ministry or National Assembly can summon the Auditor General to go and conduct a special audit. The moment you say special audit, it became investigation. It requires more resources, competent people, because the report can end up being at the court. And then for financial audit, all our audits are financial audit that we are conducting at the area council. That is why we are expressing an opinion on the financial statement. And then all these issues, the areas, the fraud, the mismanagement of this, lack of payment vouchers, they are all coming from our financial audit. Even this report we are going through is a financial audit report, and we conduct it annually on all the councils. I don't know whether that answer.
No, that is the routine audit.
Yes.
That is done in
yeah,
council.
the routine audit. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm talking about special audits, where, for example, you have discovered a high level of financial malpractice, and it is a cause to the general public, and you decide to set up a special audit. Have you done that in any of the councils?
For councils, I know for Basse, there was a special audit because we work with internal audit. We are still serving the same public. Internal audit did the special audit and then copy us, and then I think that action has been taken currently. In fact, I am the one who submitted that report to the commission. And then another special audit from do you want to give a period because there are special audits? You say from 2018. I know when the new government came in, there was a special audit for KMC. We got that request from Minister of Finance. That was conducted in 2017. Apart from that, the only special audit, because special audits will be based on request. It will be based on request. And then we have currently another special audit request for Banjul City Council. Right, I'm having those documentations here. The request was we audited Banjul City Council up to 2020, and then the report was finalized. The Ministry, National Assembly, Finance, all the stakeholders are copied. There are issues in the audit, because these area councils, any council you go, there are issues. And then we receive a request that they are summoned for a special audit from 2018 to date for Banjul City Council. Then by then, we are also conducting other reports that's supposed to go to National Assembly. Then I just want, I don't know. I don't know whether you would like me to, yeah? Okay.
You can share what you have, please.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
I just share it or I read it? I read it, yeah. So this was the request. This request is from the councillors. They wrote to the Ministry of Local Government and Land on the 5th January 2023. Dear sir, we the undersigned elected councillors and nominated councillor of the Banjul City Council are writing to bring to your attention the financial and administrative irregularities that we have proof of within our council. We have attached the relevant documents as proof of these irregularities, which include mismanagement of funds, false record keeping, and abuse of power. These actions have caused significant damage to the council and have had a negative impact on the community we serve. We urge the Ministry of Local Government and Land to investigate this matter and take necessary action to ensure that such wrongdoing does not continue. We stand ready to provide any further information or assistance that may be required during the course of this investigation. Signed by 6 councillors. And then the Ministry of, and then these are some of the issues. Provision of, the issues are said among the initial irregularities that we found was that council was paying the Raffaella secretary and there is no secretary in place. Raffaella, but there is no secretary in place, 1. 2, non-compliance with statutory requirements like GPPA. 3, lack of compliance with the Finance and Audit Act, which states that Section 5 that the funds of the council shall be administered within the administrative area. 4, lack of compliance with the Local Government Act, Sub-Local Government Service Commission. We gave powers to the Local Government Service Commission to appoint and promote and dismiss, but we have learned that council have been making appointment through the use of contract appointment. 5, lack of timely general council meeting. 6, we have requested the reason for justification for the expungement of the position near the Deputy CEO. 7, of recent, the Internal Audit Department have detected the use of unofficial duty tickets at the market. 8, high possibility of duplicate of payment. 9, unnecessary appointment, overstaffing, abnormalities. We found that abnormality were a relative to the mayor abscond with council fund to Germany. 11, we realized that the council special advisor is involved in collection of lancing and supervising the market ticket. 12, public funds shall be used for public purpose. The usage of council funds for finance political activities. 14, political activities were sponsored between February to 2022. And then 15, fraud possibilities through direct payment done in the name of individual applying for scholarship. 16, payment to media houses. So this was the request from the council, and then the ministry wrote. There's a portion to our letter, this is 16 January 2020, on the above subject. You are now kindly requested to conduct an extraordinary audit of the accounts of the Banjul City Council with specific focus on the issues contained in the attack missive from a group of 6 councillors. The ministry will be grateful if this could be done with urgency as it works towards addressing numerous claims and counterclaims. We received this letter in February. It was sent in February, but we received it around March. By then, it was my reporting time at the National Assembly on statutory reports, and then I think by then I was even at Basay Area Council. Audit, this was among the reasons why I say audit is risk-based. And then orders, Banjul City Council was audited up to 2020. Basay, the last audit was 2019. When Basay has a clean audit from 2019, we were not able to go back to Basay in 2020. Before we go back, fraud happened. You look at the Kuntaur and others, they all stop at 2019, but Basay, KMC, Brikama, the major, because risk-based, that's why we started with them. We made sure that for them they are audited annually. When I received these, because special audit, it doesn't mean that if you have requests, automatically you have to go. The Auditor General has a responsibility to advise. So when I received these, I spoke with the PS. I said, that's fine, we received this. But even if you look at the previous audit, 2019-2020 for BCC, there are a lot of issues in that report, and you are copied. If you share this, most of these issues are in fact captured in that report. You might say somebody took money, ran away with it, but you will not see that in an audit report. That's why people might say there is fraud, there is this, somebody ran away, but you will not see that in audit report, because this is a technical field. Whatever I'm saying, my reports are based on standards. So that's why even my wording, they are all technically this thing also. That's the profession we are. And then auditors cannot even say steal and go. That can only be confirmed in court. My response was, request for extraordinary audit for Banjul City Council, reference to your letter dated 6 February 2023 regarding the above subject. I would like to inform you that I have reviewed the claims of corruption and large-scale financial and administrative irregularities as stipulated in the letter from the councillors. I wish to inform you that most of the claims were actually covered in our 2019-2020 audit report of the council, which we are willing to share. This means the councillors, because the ministry, National Assembly, they all have this. But I'm just trying to, the councillors again, the mayor is copied, the ministry, finance and this in that report. But I said, which we are willing to share with you and also provide guidance on the content of the report if necessary. Our next statutory audit is scheduled to take place in May 2023. This will cover the period 2021 and 2022 financial year. Whilst audit for 2023 financial will be in April 2024 as per the Constitution of the Gambia, we will avail the opportunity to the councillors to provide any evidence to the audit team during the upcoming audit exercise. We hope that you will find this information useful while assuring you of our highest consideration. My point here is, if you audit up to 2020, and there are a lot of issues, irregularities in that report, and then that's not the only council. There are other councils, and these are statutory audits. They need to appear. They need to be at the National Assembly. And National Assembly use this report to write their report and send it to executives for their actions. And then you said again, come back to this council when my report is there with a lot of irregularities and you didn't take any action. And is the same limited resources that we should use for this, is it reasonable? I said, my report is there. You can come. I can share it with you. I can take you through. Some of these in the difference is just the heading. If you go to that report, most of these things, maybe if I told you, say money has been paid for, our report you will see doubtful payment. Because we don't know whether the money was paid for Senegal, but we say doubtful payment. Because the audit team has seen a payment and they don't know what is this payment about. They say doubtful payment. Maybe our review will be able to provide insufficient document, will be able to prove this is the payment they are talking about. So we also have a responsibility to advise where necessary, and then that is what actually happened. And those are the only special, I think that's the only special audit requested for now. And then already the engagement letter for Banjul has already been drafted, and then we are just waiting for, because right now we know the councillors and this is election time, that's why we just delay immediately after the election we start. Because during the audit we interact with the councillors and auditing to give us more relevant information.
Thank you. Let him continue with the others.
My second question is on Basse Area Council.
Yes.
In your deliberation, you faulted the budgeting process of the council in that, it violated the Local Government Act in the sense that the key stakeholders were not consulted, like the village development committees and so forth. And then you also faulted the lack of, in the governance structure, you faulted the governance structure of the council also in that some of the key statutory committees were non-existent, like, for example, the development committee, which is the conduit for development projects, and there was nothing like contracts committee, and finance committee. So many of those were not in existence. And the development committee takes its sources from the village development committee, and the village development committee is constituted by the community. So in the absence of all these committees, then how was the council operating? So in essence, you may have only an ad hoc committee or an illegally constituted committee that would be giving out contracts and administering the affairs of the council. So was any remedial measure taken to constitute some of these statutory committees?
Yes, just as I said, because otherwise these committees, I will not even have an idea about what this committee, but it's just because of their policy document, the act, the policy, the manuals, that stated that they should have them. And then during our review, we realized that they are not in place. But this was 2019 report. And then currently, Basse, the 2020-2021 is at the draft stage. It was delayed because of that special audit by internal audit, because we work together. That's why we delay so that their report can be finalized before we do. Then that report we saw whether these things are. But our recommendation was these committees are not in place, and then according to their act, they should be in place. And then the implication, if they are, it will affect the operational efficiency of the council. And then again, the budget. This is also from the act. the budget preparation, the procedures it should take, and then we realize that it doesn't follow those procedures, our recommendation is to make sure that they follow those procedures to make sure that the budgeting process is effective and then meet the objective. These reports, this is what we can report, and then all the critical stakeholders are copied for them to make sure that they implement that recommendation. You have a body responsible for that. So for us now, the report is at the draft stage. We will go back to see whether that recommendation now, whether they've constituted for all these committees, and whether the budget process is robust, and then follow the required procedures, and then report again accordingly.
Any further questions?
Mr. TRAWALLY, thank you very much. It's just a very short one. Is that, in your view, you've done all these audits, and councils are obliged to spend 60% of their finance into development. Do you think there is any council being able to do that? And if not, maybe somebody else will answer the question. I'm just asking your opinion. If not, why?
Say that again.
That there is a provision in the Act that 60% of council's resources must be plowed back into development. Now, in your view, or according to your audit, is there any council able to carry out that? If not, why? And probably we can prolong the question to somebody else who is supposed to come. But we just asking your personal opinion whether they have plowed back these monies into development, and if not, why didn't they be in a position to do that? Thank you.
Well, I don't have any documentary evidence to confirm that the amount of money spent on development and then non this thing, because my concern is before you can reliably inform that this amount of money has been spent on development or so, you must. That's the purpose of financial statement, a credible financial statement. For me, my objective now is how councils will be able to present a credible financial statement. Because the purpose of the credible financial statement is to show, that's the reporting mechanism to the stakeholders. This is the revenue received, this is the expenditure, and then there you can reliably say, according to the financial statement, yes, they were able to. But right now, that is what we are struggling for. The financial statements, if you look at it, they are all disclaimer. So I would not be able to comfortably say that they are spending this. I can only rely on the financial statement as a professional, yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. TRAWALLY. I believe that this is a convenient point to stop, and we'll call it a day today, and we'll hope to see you on Monday at 10 o'clock sharp. Thank you so much, and we may rise.